they're going to run it back with Domantas Sabonis, who also got paid. Him and De'Aaron Fox have a great connection. They break through in the playoff drought this past year in Sacramento. When you look at the Kings in their offseason, do you think it was a relative win here? Are you excited at what they've done, kind of just adding some more depth, bolstering them in that regard, and what they're going to look like going into next year, and if they're going to be able to run it back and be just as good as they were in the regular season this past year?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if they like demonstrably improved their defense, which I think was kind of their issue big time, ultimately. But like in terms of their offense, like that's spruced up. That's even more deadly, even more weapons, for De'Aaron Fox to use, and even more versatile in that way. And if you think another year improvement, De'Aaron Fox just 25. You know what I mean? Like Keegan Murray had a very strong year last year, 22. Domantas Sabonis is no, old guy either at 27. Like these guys are still young. There's still room for them to grow. And I do like those moves. I'm a big fan of Chris Duarte. I think he's a little bit older, but fits their range in terms of like that 25, 26, 27 type player.
Yeah. Basically Kevin Huerter, just a variation of Kevin Huerter.
Exactly. I think maybe more on-ball juice, Kevin Huerter. I don't know, but like, boom, I like what they did there. I like their new guard. I think it's pretty solid. I think that they did a really good job of amplifying their strengths. I will say that. I don't know if they've like covered their weaknesses well enough. But then again, Sacramento's never been known as a defensive juggernaut, so maybe it's overrating it, right? But no, I think ultimately like they are pretty solid. Definitely another team I think will make the playoffs again. So
they're like 10, 11 deep. I'm curious how they do this rotation because somebody's gonna. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. I think it's going to be very fascinating.
They got Nerlens Noel for their defense too. My bad, I forgot.
Yeah.
So Nerlens Noel is somewhat good defensively. I will say that. But like they're and Alex Len is back and he's decent defensively. But they're good. And yeah, let's not forget, like you said, Sasha Vezenkov, 6'9", NBA ready, EuroLeague MVP. Like, yeah, it's gonna be nice. I like it. If you look at like their rotation, we talked about it. Point guard, De'Aaron Fox backup Davion Mitchell. Shooting guard, Kevin Huerter backup Malik Monk. Small forward, Harrison Barnes, backup Chris Duarte. Power forward, got Keegan Murray, Sasha Vezenkov, and then Trey Lyles. Center, Domantas Sabonis and Alex Len. And you still have Kessler Edwards, Nerlens Noel, Colby Jones, and your two-way players. You said it. They're 11 deep there. And they have amazing depth at the power forward position. Some guys at the 3 could play the 4. Some guys at the 4 would probably play the 3 a little bit in bigger lineups, right? Monk, heat up in a hurry, could play both guard spots. Davion Mitchell, pitbull defensive guard, right? Duarte, shooter off the bench. Vezenkov, shooter off the bench, and probably do a little bit more. Alex Len can still get valuable minutes when his size needed. Like they're in a very good position. I think that they'll win the NBA Cup.
Oh my God, that's gonna be so weird. Oh my God. I'm not ready, Corban. I'm really not ready. I'm not ready. That would be a Kings thing, though, for them to be the first winners of the NBA Cup.
Right, there you go. It would. No one could take that away from them.
Well, the thing too to remember about the Clippers, so they won 48 games last year, nearly 53 seed. Here are the teams that made the playoffs last year in the West: the Grizz, the Nuggets, the Kings, the Suns, the Clippers, Warriors, Lakers, T-Wolves, and then Pelicans and Thunder rounded out 9-10. The only teams that I can definitively say are not going to make the playoffs next year: the Jazz, the Blazers, the Rockets, and the Spurs. I find it very hard to believe that Mavericks don't make it back to the postseason with a full season of Luka and Kyrie. I think they bolstered their depth a little bit. I think they're just too good. Like, they're going to find their way back in the postseason. Someone's got to fall out. The Kings, I'm just looking over. I'm like, the Warriors aren't falling out. The Lakers aren't falling out. The Clippers aren't falling out. The Suns definitely aren't falling out. The Nuggets definitely aren't. I'm kind of worried about where their record's going to be. Like, I'm kind of worried. I think what two things could be happen. They're just as good as last year, and yet they're a play-in team this year. And I wonder how it's received because the West is just so tough.
Are we sold on the Warriors?
Yeah, Steph playing, even if Steph plays 70 games, like they're playoff team, locked in, no question.
I mean, they're 44 and 38 last year with Steph playing a bunch of games.
Yeah, I mean,
and Steph is 35 now.
You just want to end the Warriors. You just want.
No. I was gonna make the same case for the Lakers. Actually,
I think their roster's better too. I don't know. There no weird Jordan Poole stuff hanging over the team for a full year.
No, now you just gotta worry about
Kuminga, Moses maybe
39-year-old
can
Chris
make a
Paul
jump.
and hoping those two make a jump finally after 3 years.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, those guys hopefully making a jump and Chris Paul not
Nah.
being cooked. Like the Lakers, I like their depth a little better, but again, they only go so they're better positioned to survive without LeBron AD, but
Yeah.
they'll only go as far as LeBron AD will go. And AD will be 31, LeBron will be 39. Just concerns about that. Memphis, you're losing Ja for the first 25 games.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Marcus Smart is not going to help, but I don't think it's going to be like a perfect. They could have a slow start too. Who knows, right? Denver, I think, will be a solid regular season team. We'll see about the playoffs because losing, some of the depth that they did lose was important to me. So we'll see. The Suns, I actually don't know. Like, if they're healthy, then absolutely. But we're going on a 35-year-old Kevin Durant, a Bradley Beal who's been dealing with injuries the last couple of years, missing like dozens of games. Devin Booker's not beyond injury himself. We saw that last year. And then you don't have the players that can step up if those guys go down and go, okay, we got this. Like, we're going to write it out. No, I could definitely see them slipping a little bit. So, like, I think the only one I really can't poke holes in is really Denver. And the Clippers, I'm sorry. Wait, do we not realize they have Kawhi and PG? Like, those guys get injured. They're still deeper, but we saw last year the depth wasn't as good last year. The depth's a little older. What looked good in 2020 and 2021 doesn't look good in 2023. Nick Batum and Marcus Morris and all these guys. I'm sorry, like, I'm not sold either. I think health is going to be the big, like, barometer there. So I could totally see Sacramento making it there. One of those teams having a surprising slide that maybe look back isn't so surprising, but, like, look at it. The Warriors were 6th. The Lakers were 7th. Right? The Suns and Cavs were Suns and Kings separated by 3 games.
Yeah.
Only teams that made it over 50 wins in the West was the Nuggets and the Grizzlies. Like, I could totally see something like that happening. Health is something there, but no, I will go with your original opinion. All things being equal, if health was just good for everyone, no, you're probably right. I'm looking at the Kings, maybe, like you said, playing, and even then, like, where does OKC go? Where does New Orleans go? What happened to Minnesota? It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be fun to watch them again. I'm sorry, we didn't even mention one team that I expect to be good that dropped to 11th last year, Dallas.
Well, that's what I said at the top. It's like Dallas is a playoff
Utah
team.
From the jump. I'm sorry. Yes, you did. So, like, let's not forget Utah. I'm just kidding. But
I mean, Utah's going to be feisty. They're not going to be bad. Like, Utah's going to – I think Keontae George is going to be a really good player.
No, I love Keontae. I had him high on my list. So,
He would have been Summer League MVP if he doesn't get hurt late, right? Like, he probably would have been Summer League MVP. Who even ended up winning? Who won it?
I mean, Evan Mobley's brother.
Who?
Wait, no, Summer League MVP. I was thinking of the championship game. Who won Summer League MVP? Was it Cam? I think it was Cam Whitmore.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Cam Whitmore.
Okay.
And then in the championship game, I forgot because Keegan Murray won last year, and Evan Mobley's brother won the MVP of the game.
Okay.
So remember 2012 co-MVPs were handed out to Damian Lillard and Josh Selby.
Josh Selby, man.
Shout out to him.
I love when people are like, it means nothing. And I'm like, well, there actually is a pretty good track record of guys who win Summer League MVP or actually do play well at Summer League. Generally speaking, there are the Josh Selbys of the world. And like Trae Young, obviously having a pretty rough Summer League and he figured it out. But like there's actually a pretty good track record. If you play pretty well in Summer League, that's a good sign. Like that is never, it's very rare that that's a bad sign for your NBA career is if you're really good in Summer League. Right out of the game.
No, exactly. It's not, look out, the Summer League curse is not mad.
No.
So, like, I definitely agree with you. I think that it's one of those things that it translates. It doesn't mean it's end all be all. Like, this is what it is. But it does portend well. You'd rather have that than they didn't play well in Summer League, because for whatever reason. Like, that's more concerning. Look at Brandon Miller. I'm concerned about that. So no, I agree. I think that it does. Yeah, it's at least something.
I'm excited because there's going to be at least 2 teams that wind up in the play-in situation this year, and their fans are going to be upset because it's just the West is going to be too topsy-turvy. Like, it could be the Grizzlies, it could be the Lakers, but the Lakers, it doesn't really matter. I think the fans are like, we don't really care. If we're healthy come playoff time, like, we can win the West. Like, I don't really care if we're a play-in team. But everybody else, you want to avoid that. You want to avoid that kind of grind and everything else. You don't want to go the path of the Lakers and the Heat if you can avoid it. But I do think there are going to be some teams that slide down in that category because I think the Mavericks slide up. The Thunder are going to be right there. The Pelicans, probably the biggest question mark of all of those teams because we've seen the best of the best and the worst of the worst there health-wise with them and what that could mean for them. And like you said, just so much of this is going to come down to health. But man, the West is just going to be a bloodbath. Like anyone who's predicting how the West is going to shake out going into next year already, good luck to you, man. Because like the East, it's I think pretty easy. Like I think the East is down to 2 teams still. Like I think there are only 2 teams that can win the East right now. It's the Bucks and the
Yeah,
Celtics. That's
I'm
it.
with you on that. Yeah.
And let me throw in the caveat. Damian Lillard does get traded to the Heat. Okay. I'll throw the Heat in too.
I don't know. I think the depth is still kind of weak.
I think so too.
And Dame is your best player. We've seen that song before. Unless you want Jimmy Butler's your best player. We've also seen that. Although that gets you to the finals, but also it depends on the depth, or it looks really bad.
Can we say that? Like, it would be insane. I shouldn't say insane. It would be a gigantic surprise if the Celtics are not in the NBA Finals next year. I think for me,
Yeah,
health permitting.
they would have had either bad health or something just fell apart.
And then the Bucks just ran it back, just with a new coach.
Although I wonder about injuries.
Yeah.
And also some of their guys are older now. Brooke will be 36. Chris Middleton battled injury, but also Lily took a step back last year. Only one I think that would get it better is Giannis, and that jumper hasn't gotten better.